Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason, where we're moving in slow-mo here? Oh, there we go. I must have accidentally hit the 0.5x speed. Sorry, ahem. Welcome back to the Brightworks, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're going to be taking a look at a 4 versus 4 that was recently played on, oh gosh, forgetting the name here. Omega Valley, that's right. Omega Valley. Oh, and apparently with some Legion stuff. Oh, I always love when I'm caught off guard by that. Legion making an appearance in more and more games, and I'm always super excited to see it. Today, spotting as our red team leader, What the Sigma, going to be showing us some good old-fashioned Cortex gameplay. Going to be showing us how those core bots handle this very, very mountainous, rough-terrained map. Yeah, one of the maps of all time. Certainly one of the maps that has a complicated rush path. You sort of have to fight over this midsection immediately. 6.5 metal extractors, and there's 4 of them. Very, very valuable metal in the middle of this map. He who manages to claim the middle of the map usually so manages to win the game here. Spawning on the other side, spawning as the blue team leader, spawning as a Cortex commander, none other than Fader. Fader, representing the Pew clan here, going to be clocking in at 22 open skill to the red commander's 21. A little bit of a learner's match, so this should be interesting to see. Looks like, I did see in the chat we were planning on a grunt spam. Yeah, so 4v4, I'm gonna grunt spam, says Fader. Looks like what we've got cooked up right here. Yeah, grunts, oh, well, okay, never mind. We have one constructor and then I guess a whole bunch of grunts. Okay. I like the grunt spam because obviously, again, controlling the midsection of this map is so important. Putting those grunts out there, keeping them alive, and keeping them trading against enemy units, going to be extremely, extremely valuable for whoever manages to do that, whichever team manages to put more units on the field here. Oftentimes, it's appealing to go ahead and go for something like a kind of an eco play, right? You have one of these commanders in the back, go for a bunch of eco, and then one commander on the front, and then one air, and all that sort of stuff. Oftentimes, that's really not necessary. Sometimes the best play you can make is just going ahead and putting as many boots on the ground in the middle of the map as possible, and whoever manages to win all that metal can then pivot into whatever kind of tech they need. Pivoting into tech, much less expensive than committing to that tech, and then eventually finding out, hey, maybe I regret that decision, and don't want to fight that lane whatsoever. Captain Absurd here, going to be playing the purple Legion forces here. We do have the Legion Constructor come up right now, and we're going to see a beautiful Legion construction tower as well. Yeah, look at that bad boy. It's got its own little kind of tentacle pipe system things going on. It's got its sprayer nozzle up there as well for deploying those particle beams that accelerate the production of buildings. It's wonderful. Yeah, look at that. I love this sort of battery pack thing that the Legion constructors all have. Yeah, there you go. You can see this one has it as well. Kind of a cool aesthetic going on for them. I'm always glad to see Legion getting their own unique aesthetic design. Goblins marching forward. It's the T1 grunt spam unit for the Legion faction, the T1 scout slash spam unit. They are a interesting type of unit. They outrange the grunt, actually. They have more range than the grunt, but they don't have basically anything else better than the grunt. They have lower HP, lower movement speed. They're lower everything except for range. So there's a weird interaction with them where if you engage against grunts and you fight command the goblins into the grunts, they will actually take a really efficient trade because they'll stay just out of range of the grunts while firing away. However, if the grunts take one step forward, they'll blast you to smithereens worse than you can imagine, and they'll ruin your entire day. So it's a weird kind of micro battle right there. There's a lot of APM battling that goes on in that thing. Certainly in the higher levels, that's much more difficult to pull off, right? Microing against a commander that's paying much more attention to their army, going to be a lot more difficult than one that is leaving it idle on the front lines. But in the lower level leagues like this, I expect that sort of thing would probably find a lot of value in this sort of game. Well, we've reached our grunt spam, just like that. The blue commander with a whopping 12 grunts on the battlefield. I know, 13 grunts now, my goodness. Has there ever been more grunts? No, certainly there has, but for the early game, that's definitely a sufficient amount of grunts to blast down efficiently any of the units that are going to be coming out here. Boromir has just been sending those units to the flames. Yeah, a lot of those grunts have been sacrificed here inefficiently. Obviously, taking a 1v12 versus taking, well, maybe a 3v12 or anything, you know, higher numbers better is basically what I'm saying. Definitely feels like Fader is prioritizing the part of the map that's valuable here more than anybody else, though, yeah. Ravenek moving forward to claim some of these mexes, unfortunately claiming them with the Legion mexes, which actually produce slightly less metal, but do produce a constant energy output. Bit of a weird trade-off that, but it does come in handy, especially at the early game where you can go for triple mech starts without any kind of, whoa, what in the shenanigans? What the Sigma has moved into the purple base? Captain Absurd without a solution here, yeah. Suddenly the red commander needs to be dealt with. Now, I've already done damage to this commander, so as long as we stay out of range, out of the maximum range, or at the maximum range of this commander, the purple commander can just go ahead and blast this commander with the heat ray gun, and it'll be alright. Essentially, this is a sacrifice here, but did what the Sigma actually do enough damage? You know what? I don't think so. Yeah, the red commander killed one T1 lab and a metal extractor, but at the end of the day, that's 1.25 thousand metal right at the door of the purple commander. It'll be more than enough to rebuild that laboratory and get a wonderful start going for some of that T1.5 tech, right? Getting some of those advanced mexes up and online, the overcharge mexes, I mean, getting some of that stuff nicely rebuilt. Yeah, I think that was a sacrifice that didn't end up paying out here for the red player. Could be a crucial misplay right here. It could mean the difference between winning and losing this lane. Riot Cannon will be blasted down right here by Gotham, the yellow commander, who is stepping forward right now to shut all this down. The, gosh, what are these called? Lobbers. Light plasma bots firing away at the commander here. You do have to be careful because you can build quite a lot of these. 60 metal apiece means you can spam out the lobbers quite effectively. But it also means that they do a decent amount of damage, especially when surrounding units like commanders or others that are essentially particularly high health and susceptible to being surrounded. If we're just going to AFK the units, though, then, yeah, the commander's going to have a wonderful time degunning those down. Lobbers, essentially just a upgraded version of the Goblin. They're basically the Goblin, but on a slightly bigger frame. They just kind of took everything and made it 20% bigger. Got him now running for his life as, yeah, the Lobbers have found their target. Brought low to 21% HP and falling 13% now. 5, 3, boom goes the yellow commander as those Lobbers have overwhelmed him. It feels like a little bit of inexperience playing against playing against Legion, rather. Yeah, just a little bit unaware of exactly what Legion has in their back pocket and what kind of forces they can bring to bear. Both of those commanders not really finding much value, and so with them both down, I want to say that this is actually a decent advantage for the blue team. Indeed, the economy would reflect that here. Well, okay. For a second there, over 100% advantage. I do believe probably mostly because of Reclaim right now. Sacred Fabric out on the front line. You know what? The red team is also in trouble because these are the last two commanders that they have under their belt. This is a 4v4, not your usual 8v8, so these commanders are kind of valuable. Losing them definitely means you're in a rare spot. Yeah, you're going to be in a tricky situation here with both these commanders down. Still, though, Sacred Fabric and Boromir have managed to push the blue forces out of the center of the map. Massive reinforcement wave heading down from the northern side. After killing that commander, they will head over in this direction. Looks like that constructor is prioritizing the bots instead of the commander. I think that's a misplay. Probably meant to reclaim that commander first and foremost. Okay, we're going to set up the pop-up turrets, too. I don't mind the pop-up turrets, but you do have to try and get value with them, and setting them up in choke points is about as good as it gets. A couple of thugs pushing forward right here. The Centaur trying to blast these down as well. Centaur don't really hit their stride until you have them in a snowball-y force. Until that point, they really are just flimsy and flamsy. Yeah. Blasted down easily here by the thugs. Sacred Fabric starting to build up metal. What are we going to spend this metal on? We have nice production bases in the backline. We need to get some more build power going. We need to scale the energy production. And more importantly than anything else, we need to invest in overcharged metal extractors. One of the things that Legion has in their back pocket that can bring them back in a game, it's a comeback mechanic basically unique to Legion, is those overcharged metal extractors. They can find a way to cram a little bit more resource out of a little bit less on the map. And oftentimes it will come down to that difference. Bombing coming out from the red commander. Okay, apparently we've got some whirlwind bombers coming in to hit this massive clump of units right here. You know what? I don't even mind it. There they go. Bombers dropping their payload directly on top of that load of units. Not bad. A decent connection. Scuffing up at the very least most of those units. Dropping about 25% off of all of them, if not more. Those missiles firing up into the air and coming back down. Bombers still trying to connect with it whatever they can, but my goodness, the pink commander falls here as well. Goblins and thugs. Who knew? Sounds like some sort of, I don't know, some sort of like rock band, maybe a metal band or something. Goblins and thugs. Now, I will say, showcasing exactly how flimsy they all are, just a handful of grunts managing to blast down all of those units right there from Ravenneck. Largely aided, though, by these bombers that have been shelling away at a bunch of these units and softening them up quite nicely, meaning that the grunts only have to take so much of a fight. Yeah, about a half of that fight they actually had to fight right there. Bomber in the backline continuing to harass some of these metal extractors. Looks like it's been microed onto the lab right here. Maybe trying to snipe the build power. Not a bad idea, of course. Sniping that build power. Very annoying for the Cyan commander. Needs to get some anti-air defenses up and running stat. Otherwise, that bomber's just going to continue tearing away at this place. I see a lot of Legion tech. I don't see a lot of advanced metal extractors, or overcharged metal extractors, pardon me. Yeah, I'm looking around for them. I just don't see them. For anybody, maybe I should clarify what I'm talking about. For anybody that doesn't know, Legion has two metal extractors. They have this one, which is their regular metal extractor, and they have this one, which is their overcharged metal extractor. This produces double the metal, but it also costs 30 energy per second to run. Not to mention 300 energy and 3,000, pardon me, 300 metal and 6,000 energy to even build it in the first place. We're going to reclaim the commander. That means Boromir is the very last commander right here. That makes me a little nervous, I won't lie. This commander is still untouched up here on the northern side. Definitely a misplay from the purple commander not reclaiming that. That commander was under purple control for the longest time and remained unclaimed over here. The economy is in shambles. Yeah, the build power has been set up here. We need way more build power. Everyone looking like they're not really ready for a late game here. T2 Laboratory up and running right now. We do have red bombers headed across the map. There's loads of anti-air towers available over here. I count 4 in total. Going to be firing away at a bunch of these fighters and bombers and whatnot, trying to shoot them down before they get too much value. At least one bombing run will connect, but at the very least, those bombers will be shot out of the sky relatively quickly by the massive swarm of anti-air towers firing away now. Also takes them quite a while to actually turn around and fire once more. There we go. Yeah, bombers connecting, but at the end of the day, oh wow, the green commander taps out of the game. I can't believe it. That bombing run did practically nothing. It killed a couple of wind turbines, but basically nothing after that. I can't believe the green commander left at that point. Zoltar left the game, yeah. Okay. What a weird situation right now. Finally, we have a big old grunt pull pushing forward as well. You know what? The red team just making a wonderful comeback. Yeah, despite a massive positional advantage right here for the blue team, the red team wants to win the game, so they're going to push ahead forward. They're going to try and kill some units. They're going to try and kill some bases. Despite losing all those commanders, still doing way more damage in this game overall. Yep, need to keep moving. There we go. Grunt's continuing to step forward. Mex is falling. Reinforcing bots coming out of the labs are falling too. Obviously, taking these reinforcement fights is much more efficient than fighting the big ball of units. Again, it's a numbers game. Just like that, 4 or 5 grunts make it through. 6 grunts, actually. 7 grunts, actually. Wow. That's, I mean, it's a nasty number. It's more than enough to tear all this apart. I'd love to see these split up at this point. There's no reason to keep them all balled up. Splitting these up in the back line, and you've got yourself 4 dead metal extractors, 3 solar panels, and energy storage, and even a construction turret. All of which can be yours for the small price of a little bit of APM to spread those units around right now. Ah, what a killer APM stall right here from Boromir. Forgetting about the units in the backline that otherwise could be doing tons more damage. Yikes. The red commander notices what the Sigma trying to micro his teammate. Oh no. Boro. Great success. Well, it's kind of like the opposite of great success. Oh, there we go. Bomber connects with a bunch of wind turbines. Oh no, Ravelnik not knowing how to space out the wind turbines. You have to select those wind turbines, hold Shift and Alt, and then hit Z or X in order to space them out. If you space them out by 1 click, they won't chain react. The way that the Cyan Commander has them set up right here, they will, and so that's why that bombing run was so effective. My goodness, yeah. You know what? I was rooting for the blue team because they essentially were the more aggressive players out on the map, but at this point in time, how could I say that anybody but the orange commander is here to win this game? Boromir trying to make big plays right now and making it happen. The blue commander sacrificing himself to kill those grunts. That was a cheeky play right there. Very nicely done. A noble sacrifice indeed. Metal extractors left unclaimed over here. There's a little bit of slop. There's a little bit of slop that needs to be cleaned up. Obviously, this is a lower level game, so I'm not expecting a lot, but I'm just saying that there's room for easy improvement, right? There's a lot of things that you can do in a game of Beyond All Reason that are very technical and very difficult to micro. Individual unit micro, of course, is one of those things. Overall, balancing the economy, that's always a very tricky sort of late in your developmental player history, a tricky thing to learn. Boy, what a overcomplication of that sentence. All I'm trying to say is there's little things all over the place that would be easy for the red team to pick up and clean up quite nicely here. Love these construction aircraft going around right here. We have 5 con aircrafts moving forward to just claim some of the mexes, just claim some of the geothermals. I love that from the red commander. Says, hey, you know what, if my team's not going to take advantage of them, I may as well. The other thing these aircraft are good for, of course, is that they can go build towers and whatnot in weird locations. So you can imagine them putting a gauntlet or an agitator up here on this high ground, out of range of the anti-air turrets, just to shell away at the blue base. Pardon me. Could be quite nice. Now, the blue player has essentially inherited a T2 base at this point with the Green Commander tapping out of this game, it does mean that there's essentially a whole T2 transition that was set up for the Blue Commander. Oh, not spacing the wind turbines out here either. It's the reason those bombers were able to take out all of them in the backs over here. Trust me, it is always worth it to space those wind turbines out. Losing all of them because of one bad engagement is gonna burn so much worse than losing a few of them over one bomber that just happens to find your base. One commander is still standing for the red team. We still have 3 for the blue, so they could afford to be a little more risky with them. Obviously, once we step into this T2 game, it's going to be a little bit harder to justify that. Those commanders are going to find less and less value against those T2 units. Still, though, with the hounds... Gosh, I have such a hard time with the camera on this map. With those hounds coming out of the lab and firing away at a bunch of the T1, it's going to be hard for this T1 to find value either. Yeah, those ballista forced back right here by the hounds, taking a very efficient fight. Radar and radar jammer included in the comp here as well to try and make sure that those hounds have maximum efficiency. And well, they will. Firing away with a devastating effectiveness. Sheldon Ball is building in the midsection though. Heavy laser tower coming up over here. This feels like the neglected corner of the map right now. The yellow commander at this point must be trying to resurrect this commander. No other reason why that commander would have been lying in ruin for so long. If not for wanting to resurrect it, I suppose. Maybe we're planning to eat that, but with 1 commander total left over, yeah, I feel like the red team could do with a resurrection here. Certainly, there's been enough time. Even 1 resbot latched onto this would have been more than enough to resurrect the commander at this point, or close to it. Yeah, this trade, it could be better. It could definitely be better. These units are so clumped together that the AoE effect, small as it is, from those thugs and from those agitators means that a lot of the purple units are taking damage when otherwise they shouldn't be. We also have these Arbiter firing away, which are very annoying. Keeping your units in one position virtually guarantees that the Arbiter are going to find value against them. And just like that, the yellow player manages to hold this front line here. Wow. A stalwart defense, to say the very least. Hounds here getting blasted down by the Pharaohs, actually. The light laser towers here. Light heat ray towers, pardon me. LHTs. Hound's going on a little bit of a tear. Okay. Well, they found a little bit of production. They found a little bit of backline here. Prioritizing the radar tower. Not necessarily a micro mistake there from Fader. That's just the way that hounds are. They're so strange. The mind of a hound is a peculiar beast. Sumo here are going to be quite nice for dealing with some of these. Yeah. The hounds basically walk right into the hands of the sumos, and it does mean that they're going to take a wonderful trade. Oh my goodness, what a waste of hounds. Yeah, Sumo's going to be perfect for cleaning those up, waddling their way towards these hounds. One of the hounds peels off to go kill this geothermal, which I'm glad to see. At the very least, finding a little bit more value out of this pack of hounds. But not managing to snipe the backline here. Yeah. Huh. The rogue hound, the hound who got away, the blue hound hero. The hound with 0.07 XP manages to get the kill right there, which is obviously quite nice. The Sheldon Ball now ready to move forward. We do have a amputator, though. Area control cluster artillery, firing away at whatever it can. The swarm drones coming out of this hive as well, trying to fire away at whatever they can. The anti-air manticore, though, is going to be quite nice for shooting those down. Yeah, it can manage to kill those pretty quickly. Means that that hive is not going to be able to really contribute too many drones towards this fight. I think it's time we stop producing ballista. Yeah, I think it's full-on time for a T2 transition here. Ballista not finding much value. Karkanos, lobbers, even just mass goblins wouldn't be the end of the world here. Those arbiters have been firing away this whole time as well, and I love to see it. Making it so inconvenient for the purple commander to just stay still. Ooh, Captain Absurd narrowly missing that missile directly to the face there. Sheldon versus Hound. Well, in a straight-up battle, it should go to the Sheldon, but it's going to come down to the micro here. We have a radar jammer up at the very least for the orange commander, making it difficult to engage, but we do also have some Strider rolling out. I feel for the blue team, who is now down to 75% the APM that their team should be afforded. The green commander definitely tapping out way too early in that game. I think if the green commander had stuck around a little longer, this economy would be looking a little bit better overall. Wow, that's a lot of build power. Okay. Fader going for quite an overinvestment into the build power here. We're looking for... Ooh, what a row of... What a massive row of con turrets. The reason this is a bit of a problem is because these ones in the center are not actually going to have much value, right? I mean, you can see the radius on these is not massive. These con turrets in the middle are going to be able to affect much less than the con turrets on the outside. Like, you can see this one can reach the effective surface area of this con turret is like 75% of its area, versus this con turret is like, I don't know, maybe 50. That's why usually we see those built in big rows of 3 or so, 2 to 3. As far as game enders go, I don't mind the airplay. Ah, speaking of airplay, I was wondering if we were going to make a transition into T2 units, and it looks like indeed we will. Dragon coming across the map right here. Its nipple lasers looking to fire their green laser beams down upon its foes, and that heavy flamethrower belcher ready to spew flame upon any who should oppose it. I also see, yeah, tactical missile launcher over here is quite nice. The Catalyst. Its attack range is wide enough to hit this lab over here and maybe some mexes. Overall, though, not really in a very valuable position. If we had transported this up onto the hillside here and it could fire into the entire backline, that would be wonderful. One of the dragons already in the backline, though. Fader, oh, going for the D-gun, gets the D-gun on the dragon. Wonderful connection right there from the blue commander. Remembering that you can D-gun those down, oftentimes your saving grace when you have to deal with those early T3 air. This dragon, however, entirely uncontested, yeah. T1 anti-air tower, trying its very best. A humble 3% knocked off the health bar of that dragon in total. It'll be more than enough to blast down the entire base over here for the purple commander. That flamethrower cannon, quite powerful. Ravenek going for the D-gun here as well, looking for the connection, not gonna find it though. Yep, dragon flying away and continuing to spray that commander meanwhile with the flamethrower and the heavy lasers. Ravenek needs to cloak. Not gonna get it. Dragon snipes the commander and moves into the backline here. Just like that, the T2 bot lab is gonna be going down. Does it get any better than dragons in the backline? I don't think so. It's the value all Cortex commanders dream of. Sniping laboratories with dragons. Yeah, this swarm of T1 bots is just easy pickings for this dragon to fire away at. Doesn't have to worry about them at all. The anti-air is basically non-existent. Captain Absur, yeah, trying to find some value here as well. Really not going to be able to do much against that dragon, though. Purple Commander throws in the towel here. Only the blue and cyan remain. Ravenek losing that last commander, my goodness. Now we only have the one commander standing. Fader trying to go for some sort of last-ditch effort here. We have the Hound Ball, and it's trying to move forward. There's a lot of Sheldon here, but there's way more Hounds. Certainly enough Hounds to bust this midsection, but we need to find the value quick. He's going to pull back once more. Pulls back once more, and it means, of course, that that is not going to be an option for the win here. Yeah, those Hounds are just too slow. Too much damage already done by the dragon. Too many Sheldons and agitators and all sorts of trash moving forward over here. And another dragon to reinforce it all coming across the map now. Right through the midsection. Advanced geothermal in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, those dragons lingering around looking for value wherever they can. Always good to see. I think we can just go ahead and go for the kill though. Being aware of that commander's positioning and making sure you don't get those dragons degunned is of course critical to making sure that you can survive in this game. Commander is spotted. Important to remember that the commander is how you win a game of Beyond All Reason. It has nothing to do with killing the bases. If only the fact that it makes it slightly easier to kill commanders when you kill their bases. This, this massive array of build power, nearly 10,000 metal worth of build power, popped in an instant by the one rogue dragon. Fader moving over to try and clean this dragon up, trying to degun it down, but the dragon being microed nicely here, well aware of that commander's shenanigans and not allowing it any opportunity to blast it down. Fader and Ravenek blasted out of this game by the overwhelming firepower of a couple of those bad boys in the sky, taking down a whole bunch of the backline. There we go, D-Gun connects with the dragon and finally manages to blast one of them down. The reinforcing dragon, though, is here to stay. The other, meanwhile, manages to open up the lane for the AGO to get sniped. Yeah, this is a beautiful move right here from the red commander. A couple of strategic dragon when you know that your enemy has light anti-air defense can, well, win you the entire game. Rovanek, the last standing commander, will go ahead and 2x the speed right here as it looks like, there we go. The final blue commander decides to tap. The red commander winning the game with a cheeky little dragon play to run across, or to rush across the map and blast down a whole bunch of those. Love to see the D-guns on those dragons too. I feel like a lot of people forget that you can do that. Very tricky, tricky micro move to pull off. Very cool to see. Thanks a ton for watching. I sure hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think about the 4v4 format. We've seen some 1v1s and we've seen some 8v8s, but 4v4, I think it might be my sweet spot. Yeah, I think 4v4 might be where I like to linger. Anyways, hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason. Peace out, everybody.